Michelle, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. We're just waiting for a few more people to enter, but we have Victoria. Hi, Victoria. Hi, Nicole. So, Victoria, what are you studying?
I'm working in PSI at the moment, and in the lifelong learning area. So this will just be a really interesting area for me to have a learn in, really.
Victoria, I love lifelong learning. It's my thing. I think it's really important to just keep learning. Stop us from getting Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Michelle's a real proponent of that. She's learning to roller skate at the moment.
Perfect.
And hello, Va.
Hello there. Sorry, I have my little 9-month-old with me, so I'll be on mute as much as I can.
Don't worry. Hello, Dung. So we're just going to wait a few more minutes while we have a few more people kick off. But maybe through that process, we can do a bit of an introduction. So today we're going to be working through the CIAIRI AI Skills Bootcamp. We're going to tell you everything about it, the benefits, etc. And I'd like to introduce you to the team who's going to be doing it. So my name's Rita Arrigo, and I'm the Deputy Director here at CIAIRI within RMIT, the Centre for Industrial AI Research and Innovation. And this is part of a bigger bootcamp initiatives that we have going on. But we're really excited to be running this bootcamp. I'm going to hand over to Michelle to introduce herself next.
Oh, hi everyone. I am Michelle. I am a developer engagement lead at Microsoft, but one of the programs I've been leading is the Microsoft Student Accelerator, which is just kind of, we're building a community where students can hang out with us, study with us, certify with us, connect with us, build with us. And it's kind of, if you start your bootcamp here, it's a really good way to continue your journey while you're at university. So you've got support from Microsoft and you can continue to sort of expand your networks. The bootcamp is a really great kickstart for that process. And then, yeah, the accelerator is going to help you as you continue. And you can carry on doing it all the way through your university career, even if you're doing advanced degrees afterwards, PhDs, masters, whatever. We don't really have a start date and an end date to it anymore. It's just a sort of welcoming community where you can continue to be supported and learn. And so, yeah, that continuous learning mindset, as Rita says. Data science and AI, I guess, are my other interests around that. And I like to build little apps and things using AI, which I'll talk about a little bit later in the session.
Yes, it's always exciting when you talk about that stuff. Nicole, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole from Microsoft. I'm based in New Zealand. My role right now as a customer success manager means that I get to work with a lot of our enterprise and public sector customers around empowering the digital transformations through our technology. Previously, I've actually been in industry as a data scientist, so I can really, I guess, speak to the benefit of utilizing these skills for good and also learning about what these skills can do for you, not just in terms of your career, but also your self improvement goals, as well as any personal projects that you want to work on as well. So I'm really thrilled to be here today in support of the AI Skills Bootcamp, and it's just really lovely to see everyone here, and I hope that it will be a great session for you all. And so please feel free to ask us as many questions as you like.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nicole. And Kenny, have we got you on the call?
Hi, yeah, I'm here.
Did you want to say hi and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey guys. Hey everyone. I'm a developer from Modus. I've been doing this for 5 years, working with mostly Microsoft tech. What I like about my role is that I get to help various clients solve their problems. So whether that's government or private sector challenges, it's all pretty exciting. Glad to be involved.
Thank you so much, Kenny, and we are very excited to have you involved. Okay, so we're starting off. So today we've just done the intros. We're going to talk a little bit about what you learn in the AI Skills Bootcamp. We're going to talk about the benefits of the AI Bootcamp, how accreditation can increase your employability. Modus are going to tell us a little bit about a special feature they're adding to the bootcamp, and we are open for Q&A. So any questions you have, feel free to put them in the window. Come off mute at the end and ask your questions, and we're really here to kind of answer as many questions as you have. So let's talk about the first offering that we offer. This is called Azure Fundamentals. And when you do the Azure Fundamentals accreditation, you learn about cloud computing. You learn about the basics of cloud computing. You learn about all the Azure services and solutions that are available. You get a certification, and it takes about 27 hours in total. I like that 27 hours and 33 minutes. So it's very accurate, isn't it? But this is one of the first accreditations that I did, and as a non-developer, it has actually changed my life in terms of being able to have technical skills, to be able to switch on Azure services, to be able to support developers with what they need, and to be able to manage cloud environments in other organizations. And it's often accreditation that is very important if you want to be able to do that. So the next one we have is how do we get to that? Excuse me a sec.
Have you got an automatic automatic forward on it?
My apologies, everyone. I'm going to go straight to this one, and we will be showing you the puppies. Sorry about that. Got a bit excited about the puppies, but I'm going to hand over to Michelle, and she's going to tell you a little bit about Azure AI Fundamentals.
Okay, now I'll just say first about Azure Fundamentals. It is the primary building block, and a lot of big industry companies, as soon as you join them, if you don't already have that one, they will ask you to do that one in your onboarding process. So it is a really useful one to have because it puts you 1 month ahead of your colleagues as you onboard to a new company. However, it's not the easiest one to do because Azure Fundamentals, is the full breadth of the stack. So there's really a lot of knowledge to absorb. The AI Fundamentals, however, is very specific. It's about AI, and it's about how you can use AI and machine learning in the real world. So it makes it really it makes it really easy for you to understand what you could use it for and the different ways that you might already be seeing it in action. And it's very easy to remember that for the exam. And a lot of the exam questions are around, if you've got this technology, which of these scenarios might you use it for? Or if you've got this scenario, which of these technologies would you use? And it's not difficult to get into it and therefore remember it and therefore pass that exam. And 97% of the people that study that route and do the exam, pass the exam on their first try. The 1 person in 30 who does not, it's not that they do not pass, don't have the knowledge, don't have the capacity. It's more like they freak out. They freak out, panic on the first question, and think, oh my God, I can't answer this. What am I doing here? And they freeze up on that question. They spend more than 10 minutes on the first question, and then they don't have enough time to finish the rest of the questions. And so don't do that. Don't listen to the voice in your head that says you can't do it. Skip that question. Or what I should say is select any answer and come back to that question at the end, because it's that is holding you back from passing, not that you don't have enough knowledge or enough smarts or enough anything to do it. You can pass it first time. And this is why I encourage everyone to do the AI fundamentals first, because it's so applicable to real world. It's so much fun. It's so exciting that you will definitely be able to pass this exam first time and thus build confidence for doing other exams after that, and continue on your learning journey to, do more exams and get more certifications and become even more industry ready. Shall I talk about the puppies now?
Love it.
Are you bringing that?
I'm really keen to do this certification myself. Okay, we're ready for puppies.
Rita, I can't believe you haven't done it.
I know, I'm really bad. Okay.
Yeah, after I was chastising the other two, and there you are, not doing it
I
either.
know.
Oh, it's the easiest one because it's so fun.
Don't worry,
So,
Michelle. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there with everyone else doing the Azure AI fundamentals. So how cute are these puppies? Tell us more about them, Michelle.
I'm not seeing the puppies, Rita.
You're not? You're not seeing the
No.
puppies?
Is anyone else seeing the puppies?
Don't worry, I will fix the puppies. Don't you worry.
So the reason that we are hopefully going to see puppies on the screen at some point is that during the learning path that you follow,
Can we see the puppies?
it gets you right. Yes, we see the puppies.
All
There we
right.
go. So when I tell people these are my puppies, the response that I get is next slide, Rita, is that those are not puppies. Those are clearly Ewoks. And the thing with Shih Tzus, it's very difficult to tell whether, yes, people cannot tell whether they are puppies or whether they are Ewoks, because they look very much the same, particularly if you dress them up in their Ewok clothing. And so I used the learning that I got from the AI fundamentals pathway to build an app which helps you tell whether the furry creatures you have living in your house are puppies or predators. Because, and I know what you're thinking, if you don't remember the Star Wars movies very well, maybe you're thinking Ewoks are furry little teddy bears. However, in one of the early scenes, they are trying to roast Han Solo over a open fire. And in another scene, Leia appears wearing a beautiful, clean new dress that they have given her. Ask yourself, where did they get that dress from? Because there are no humans on the planet. So clearly they have eaten the previous occupant. So it's super important that you know whether you have Ewoks or puppies living in your home. And so you can use the machine learning and custom vision to tell you whether the picture you're looking at is an Ewok or a puppy. Do the next slide, Rita.
I will do.
So you see, it's not just Ewoks and puppies that look similar. There's a lot of things that look like other things. And, it's... You can use the custom vision that you learn about in your fundamentals series to tell the difference between various things. Go to the next slide. So this is what it looks like in the custom vision, the Azure Custom Vision AI, and it will do training. This is classification multi-class, so it's a single tag per image, so either it's an Ewok or it's a Shih Tzu. And I trained the custom vision model using only 20 images, because the difficulty, of course, with Ewok or Shih Tzu is that it is very difficult to get good training images of Ewoks. My boss would not approve the IO code for me to fly to the Ewok home planet and take pictures of them in their natural habitat, or to bring them here and get them into a green screen studio with no background, which would be the ideal training image, no background, just the Ewok. So therefore, lack of budget held me back from getting a really great model there. But 20 images, that's all I used in order to train the model for the app that I made. And it runs pretty well, like well enough for me to be secure in my own home and confident that I'm not going to be eaten in the night. So next slide, Rita.
Of course.
And that's what the app looks like. Sort of as it scrolls through each of the images, and it gives a kind of percentage, whether it's Ewok or whether it's Shih Tzu. And in fact, it's doing very well on those pictures because Shih Tzus dressed as Ewoks is an even more difficult ask than, when I trained it on images, there were no Ewoks. The Ewoks all wore clothes and the Shih Tzus did not wear clothes. They were just Shih Tzus. Whereas here we have several Shih Tzus disguising themselves as Ewoks, and yet it is nevertheless pretty confident, well, more than pretty confident as to which ones are Shih Tzus and which ones are Ewoks. And it is correct in all of those cases. So this is the kind of stuff that you can build, almost immediately. Actually, I haven't checked whether that that website is still up, because I have quite a few. I just use Azure Custom Vision, and you can do it directly in there without choosing the algorithm. It just does this for you. Yes, so there we go.
Perhaps you can check during the session and put the URL in.
I cannot check. I
okay.
cannot check what algorithm. It doesn't tell you what algorithm it uses. I have tried to find that out previously, but no, it doesn't. It doesn't say in there. But it's not meant for, rigorous academic work. It's it's meant for other stuff. I guess if you were really wanting to go deeper into the algorithms, you would have to be going a lot deeper than the fundamentals level.
Yes, but I have
is
seen
where
it used in manufacturing when you're trying to find an idea between a bottle or those kind of things.
Correct, but they don't need to state what algorithm they are using for that. So
Perfect.
yes, but those, it's not like I never talk about those concepts. I am prepping those this week for a lecture I'm doing in Melbourne next week. However, yeah, it's not a fundamentals level going into what are the algorithms behind it, just kind of the.
I think, Michelle, you're kind of talking about, AI ethics there when, people want
Yes.
to know what the algorithm is because, it might be sensitive data that you're using, or they might need to understand it or ensure there's no bias, etc. But I suppose when you're doing it
Yes.
in an object sense, it may not be as crucial. So it's one of those fun things we get to talk about when we work in AI, isn't it, Michelle?
Yes, the talk next week is called The Modern Trolley Problem, Responsible AI and Autonomous Vehicles. So yes, I am talking about algorithms and stuff and responsible AI next week. Yes, Ash, you can download the model, and I did download the model in order to put it into this app because this is a progressive web app that I built it with, and I put the model directly into that web app. I've also used it for and so what I'll show them next week is this one. So here's my autonomous vehicle, and it has an Azure Percept IoT device in it. This in the middle is a Azure Percept IoT device, and that will and you download the model and put it into that IoT device. So yes, they are absolutely downloadable. They are usable in other stuff, and it's super easy to do. And you do learn how to download that in the fundamentals level 1, although not how to put it in there. It's pretty it's pretty compatible. Like I downloaded it as a TensorFlow .js thing, but it gives you like a bunch of choices in the thing. So it's pretty standard what you can put them into. So yeah, do the learning path, do the AI fundamentals, and you will definitely be able to figure that out. And then I'll say, if you do that path and then continue in Microsoft Student Accelerator, if you want to do your AI engineer afterwards, which is the associate level one, then I'll be able to help you with some vouchers for that as a continuation of your journey. And it's super easy to go from the fundamentals to the engineer one in that. I did the engineer level one 2 days after I did the fundamentals, because you just build on those concepts. And like Christian, where you're doing your PhD, no problem for you for sure. Cool. It is totally beginner level, Victoria. Absolutely beginner level. You do not need any code at all in the AI fundamentals. It's all drag and drop, and yeah, there's no code at all in AI fundamentals. Absolutely perfect for beginner.
I believe, from what I understood and how I've worked with it before, you can even learn to build your own bot in AI fundamentals.
I'm trying to think. Yeah. Yeah. In truth, yeah, absolutely you can. Definitely at the end for the engineer one, we went a lot deeper in that, because I did some lectures for Deakin University, and we built like a few chatbots with cognitive services built in, and then she made them all do the engineer level as part of their what do you call it, HE, their distinct, in order to get a distinction, or a HE, or I don't really know the terms, they had to do their engineer level exams as well. So yeah, there's in that learning path, there is so much stuff in there. And yes, if you join Accelerator with us to continue the journey, then look at my rocket ship. Then,
We're going to talk
you
about
can
Accelerator,
build a-
aren't we?
yeah,
Yeah,
indeed.
so everyone knows what it is. So
Carry on, Rita. Go to-
carry on.
Yeah.
So my slides have been really messed up today. My apologies, everyone. Oh yeah, so we are on benefits of certification. Okay, so we wanted to talk a little bit about the benefits of the certifications, because we thought that was pretty important. So with the 3 that we're offering, and we're about to go into more detail on the final one, Azure Fundamentals, Azure AI Fundamentals, and Azure Data Fundamentals. You get to have a badge and you get to put it on your LinkedIn profile, and it actually works. Super exciting. You get to have industry recognition. So that means that when you walk into a job interview, you actually have passed the certification with Microsoft. You get hired faster, um, and you get more opportunities. Is there something that you wanted to add around this, Michelle?
I think what I said about the 1 month on-ramp benefit above your peers, that's what I hear from a lot of companies. They say that when students start, they still have to, spend that extra month learning Azure and learning the tools, where if they've already got some Azure certifications, even just one Azure certification, then they're 1 month ahead of their peers for that. So that's really it. I think Nicole had a few things she wanted to say about benefits.
Come
Absolutely.
on, Nicole.
Thanks very much, everyone. So I think I highly recommend everyone to give this a shot, because you just get so much out of learning, and the certification is really the cherry on top. Not only do you get industry recognition from Microsoft, you also get the Accreditation badges, which means you're actually certified. And then people can see that you have the knowledge of how to utilize these tech. And right now, cloud technology and AI skills and data skills are in very high demand by Australian and New Zealand employers. So I think it's really right now there's a huge shortage of skills in these areas. So when you actually attain these knowledge, you stand above the crowd. That means when you're going for interviews or you're doing you're applying for jobs, people will see that you have these skills, and then you're more likely to get through to the next round and get hired. And also there's a huge culture of continuous learning in many different organizations. There's a lot of investment within Microsoft, for example, around technical upskilling. So all of us have technical upskilling requirements at work, and that's true for many different companies in the industry as well. So whether you go on to doing AI or cloud as a role, or you're looking to utilize some of these skills for your own projects, there's just so much you can gain out of it. So like personally, I have I think one thing to keep in mind is that it's with this bootcamp you have a cohort of peers and also mentors and people to support you along the way. So you're not doing this alone. It is a very safe environment. It's all about helping you get to being certified within a few weeks' time. So really, by participating in this bootcamp, you're going to accelerate your growth and tick all of these boxes and more. Another thing that I really love about learning these skills is that if you've got your own personal projects, I'm sure many of students who are from STEM probably have interest in doing little experiments themselves. You can actually take what you've learned and apply it, and that means you can actually utilize these skills to build your own portfolios and even go into startup projects as well for fun. So there's just so much benefit of being certified. And
your own puppy project, maybe.
Yes, exactly. You can do that for cats or dolphins or memes, Doge generator. So there's just so many different opportunities, and I really, really recommend everyone just to get on board and give it a shot, because it is a fantastic program, and you're just going to get so much out of it.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on to the next thing which we're going to talk about, which I believe is you as well.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about, what can you do with these skills? What are some of the amazing services that are available in the AI Fundamentals? So over to you.
Yeah, so this is just a bit of an overview of some of the APIs that are within the Azure AI ecosystem. And that means that, when you look at APIs, they're basically building blocks for your project. So you can actually take a combination of a few of these and combine them and make your own apps. So what Michelle has demonstrated is a quick app that she's built around identifying Ewoks and Shih Tzus. You can use that for, if you've got, you can use the computer vision API, you can actually use that to identify objects in real time. You can use speech to text to read out loud what the objects are. And you can also use form recognizers to automate forms and capture information from handwritten documents of the ink recognizer API. So there's just a whole bunch of ways you can actually utilize these APIs once you've gone through the bootcamp. And just to keep in mind, there's 3 different certifications as part of this. So Azure Fundamentals, AI Fundamentals, and Azure Data Fundamentals. So it's highly recommended that you do 1 or 2 of the certifications during the bootcamp, because all of these are really essential, and a combination of these skills will really augment your experience in terms of going from 0 to 100 in terms of your cloud skills.
Which ones of
Definitely
these have you used? Oh, go on. Sorry, Michelle.
So the data one and the AI one are good ones to do together if you're thinking of following a data scientist pathway, because although, I think the AI side is super fun and the data side is not as super fun. If you don't know anything about how you're storing your data, how you're cleaning your data, how you're, all the different stages of what you do with your data, then it's useless to you, or it's going to be providing you with biased information, which will then skew the results of how you were using it with your machine learning and AI. So the data one's a really good one to have as well. And as I've already said, the Azure one, everyone wants you to have that. So yeah, it's I don't want to say do all 3, because that's perhaps too much for everyone to do, unless you are super genius, in which case do all 3. We have had people at previous boot camps do all of them, but don't feel the pressure to do that. Just do the AI one if you can't decide.
Now, this question's for the panel. Has anyone used Personalizer in a solution?
Well, I guess like Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I haven't used the API myself. I've actually done my own kind of customer segmentation project in my previous job. So I've done, kind of building propensity models utilizing machine learning and AI to go through customer kind of just looking at the data and then trying to find patterns to help
Yeah.
predict what they might be doing. So this is just one example of a pre-built API that Microsoft offers around this exact purpose.
I've heard other people have used it. It's amazing because it's an evolution from that. If you like this, you'll like this, because it actually matches you to your preferences versus what other people's preferences are. So I'd give that one a go. And it actually came out of Xbox, where they were matching people up with people that gamed the same, and they were able to get people to play longer. So it's really interesting where a lot of these APIs come from, but they've been very thoroughly tested from what I understand.
Absolutely. Another really fun one is the Q&A maker, which is pretty cool because you can even import a list of questions and then it will churn out, it will just basically train the bot for you. So you don't have to do too much coding to get it working. So if you're looking for something really fun to do, you can give it that a shot as well. And computer vision is always quite fun as well. So I highly recommend having a go with that one if you're looking to, build a, whether it's a Shih Tzu detector or any, just identifying any objects and videos and images. And other thing to keep in mind is that this is just a small sample of what you learn from, getting hands-on with Azure and cloud technology and AI machine learning. And and as Michelle has mentioned, it's really important to understand the data side of things as well, because without setting up the data infrastructure in the right way, we can't scale our solutions. So you can build very small scale experiments, but if you want to put those things into production and really productionize your machine learning models and your own applications, then you have to learn a bit of the back end as well and understand how it's all going to fit together. And one of the one skill that's been really highly in demand in the industry is machine learning DevOps. So it's really about the whole end-to-end journey of how do you actually take data and clean the data and then construct your data sets and then bring it into the machine learning modules and then get the machine, get the model out of it and then into productionized environments, whether it's, as an API call or into your bespoke apps. So there's just a lot to unpack in one call, but once you start exploring, you realize there's so much fun stuff in this world, and we're all here to support you along the way.
Thank you so much.
And don't let it put you off if you are a beginner and you're thinking, wow, that sounds like a lot and a lot of technical words and a lot of like what even are APIs. First of all, APIs are just connectors, but don't let that put you off, because all of this is just examples of where you can go with it after you have started on this pathway, and many of them are easy enough for you to do from day one with zero experience. But then there are people in here who are doing their PhDs right now, and so there's something for them as well that will help speed up their work, where they don't need to get into the algorithms of it and they just need something to process. You can use all of this stuff as well. So there's something for everyone in here, but don't be scared by all of this. You don't need to know all of this for the AI fundamentals level. It's just an example of where you can go with your skills from here.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, so we're going to tell a story about AI demos, OpenAI. Who's got this job?
So this is a bit of a preview of what else you can do in the world of AI. So this is not covered in the bootcamp, but just kind of for everyone's just for your interest, it's more about showcasing you, like if you do decide to take that upskilling continue on after the bootcamp and keep exploring this area, then you actually end up looking at other open source libraries that are out there. So there's a lot of libraries online that you can actually access to create more cool experiments. This one is from OpenAI. It's actually called, I think it's actually blown up on social media, gone viral in recent days. It's called the DALL-E. Yeah, so it's a lot of people have actually been utilizing a version of this called DALL-E Mini, which if you look online, you might be able to find it. I try to use it, but it's being every time I try it, it's always been too much traffic, so I couldn't generate anything. But
super popular,
it's super popular, yeah. But as you can see here, it's just an example of the AI taking in some prompts, so text descriptions, and then putting out images that represents what the art could look like. So it's really, really smart, and it's really cool to see how AI is, it's not only good at identifying Shih Tzus from Ewoks, but you can actually literally create art from your words and prompts.
It's amazing. An astronaut teddy bear, a bowl of soup, and now, oh wow, look at that one. Mixing sparkling chemicals. Yeah, it's just amazing. I saw a dog in a sushi house as well. So this is basic.
What I was noticing, just like where you're looking for, because after you do the fundamentals, you're kind of always looking for examples of AI utilized in the real world. And where I've been putting together my PowerPoint presentation for next week, I like to put images in and then, use those images as a talking point for the topic that I'm talking about. And for an accessibility feature, you're supposed to put the alternate text describing what the image is. And what I've been noticing is where there was no alt text already in there, PowerPoint would suggest that alt text for me. And it gives me an option to edit the suggestion that it's made, which is so much better, because where there was no text in there at all, I would often think, oh, I'll come back to that later, rather than doing it. Whereas when it's put some in and it's a little bit wrong, where I just have to change one word to say that's not a horse, that's a unicorn, or something like that, then I do it immediately, which means that my PowerPoint is immediately a lot more accessible. And the other thing, while I'm on PowerPoint and Ewoks and Shih Tzus, I did do that lecture for a global AI bootcamp in Mexico, where they of course speak Spanish and I speak English, and so I turned the live subtitling feature on in PowerPoint, which meant I spoke the presentation in English, but it subtitled it live in Spanish for me while I was teaching it to them. And that was really, really good. A few years ago, the quality of that would not have been good enough. But now it's just, it was just great. And they were asking questions in Spanish. So that Bing Translate, that translation feature is part of the AI cognitive services set. So you can see it in real life. You can see it in things all around you.
So Michelle, they were constantly working on those APIs. So I know when the Bing Translate first came out, it was a little, I don't know, just to make a few errors. But are you saying it's improved dramatically? So they're always investing in those?
I'm saying that so it's not just the translator itself is great. It's that the live translation. So I'm speaking it and it's doing it live. That's such an expensive thing for conferences to put subtitling up on the screen, and they would normally have it done manually by an external firm because of the quality. And a few years ago, when they first brought out that live subtitling feature, even just to English, I wanted to use it at a conference and I realized I couldn't, because I was talking about LinkedIn and social selling. And every time I said social selling, the subtitler put up sexual selling. and and I was like, oh God, I can't have that because that is
It's definitely not
um,
what you're talking about, though it does
that's
work.
not
Only
appropriate
joking.
on big screen. So yeah, but now, yeah, I use it all the time and it's good. It's good. So yeah,
It's definitely
those are
improving.
great services.
I loved this DALI E thing. Thank you so much for preparing it for us, Nicole, and getting that discussion going around, the kind of fun stuff that's happening in AI.
Yeah, absolutely. I put a link inside the chat as well. So there's a whole bunch of GPT-3 generators as well as a lot of Microsoft AI demos that you can have a look and play around with. So with the Microsoft demos, most of these were created with APIs that we just discussed earlier. So you can actually kind of start creating some really cool stuff once you get hands-on with it. So yeah, just I think overall, don't be too daunted by just the extensive list of stuff that you can actually have access to. Start small and just keep learning, and it's really fun. A lot of the stuff, it's quite intuitive as well. Once you get used to it, just realize how cool it is to be part of this world.
And is anyone able to describe the relationship between Microsoft and OpenAI? No? I'll pick that up at the end. All right, we're going to move into Kenny. Kenny, tell us a little bit about what Modus is doing at the moment for this boot camp.
Hey, yeah. Modus is the delivery partner for this bootcamp. So after you finish the exam, you'll be invited to submit an expression of interest for possible internships or job placements at Modus.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a pretty good opportunity. I'll give a short intro on Modus. They're a software and technology company, and they've got offices around the globe. Here in Australia, they're focused on software consulting. So that's consulting services to clients such as BHP, Woodside, and the Australian government. This basically means that we help these organizations achieve their objectives with technology. So for example, I'm a developer, I write code, and I'm currently upgrading and adding features to a nationwide disease tracking system for federal health in Canberra. So it's cool to make this contribution to the community. It's very relevant now with COVID around. But besides being a developer, there are other roles within Modus, such as business analysts and architects. It takes more than just coders to deliver a working product. So an expression of interest page is coming, and there will be more info to come. I'm sure that will be communicated to you all somehow.
Super exciting. And Modus is quite a big company. You've got offices all around Australia, don't you?
Yeah, in almost every state, I think. Yeah. Although I'm in Perth, so yeah.
You're up early for us. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate it.
I did get up early, yeah. I was yawning a bunch before this. Yeah.
But
I'll add some. Oh, sorry.
Go on, you go first.
I was looking at the page with all the APIs for the Microsoft AI stuff, and I was just going to add that a lot of our clients do use them, and there is a lot of interest, especially around trying to automate processes. For example, the form recognizer is used a lot, and it doesn't make sense for each organization to write their own models and maintain them, and it's just not the budget for it. So this is a really cost-effective way for them to get the outcomes that they want at a great cost as well. So
I heard the form recognizer is amazing. You can put invoices in, and it will read every single invoice and put it in the right cells, so that all that paperwork or scanning or cutting and pasting kind of goes away.
Yeah, for sure. It's
I'm
really
glad
cool.
to see it's being used in an industrial setting like your company.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Kenny. All right, we've got a few more things. We talked a little bit about accreditation and the key differentiator, and it really kind of opens up that learning mindset. And as I said, often when you start a job, that one of the key requirements for you to access their corporate cloud platforms or access any Azure services is that you have this accreditation. So you're already ahead when you enter the company, and often that may be the reason why you may get the job, because they need someone who's got accreditation. So the bootcamp timeline, this is how it all works. It's week one, which starts on the 4th of July. You will have a welcome session, which will be live, and then there'll be a knowledge pre-test and some self-paced learning, more self-paced learning, and then there'll be a check-in session on the Wednesday, and then we'll do an Azure session on the Friday. On the Monday, there'll be a careers in AI session where we'll talk more about the kind of career you can get in the AI space. There'll be another expert session, and 2 more expert sessions in week 2. And then you'll get a whole week, the week after, to do your exams. Nicole, did you did you want to add anything for, not Nicole, Michelle, did you want to add anything further around the bootcamp program? Or I know Catherine's on the call as well. Feel free.
For the AI fundamentals in particular, I would say, like, you don't have to do the labs. You can, if you just read the content and watch the videos and then do the prep class that I teach, it is enough to pass the fundamentals level exam. If you want to use these things in industry or in your research, then of course do the labs, but don't, you can absolutely get it just by reading it, if that's, the way that your brain consumes content. If, however, you struggle to understand what it's saying without doing stuff, then do the labs as well. But yeah, if you were looking for a way to go through it more quickly, I would say go through quickly just reading and watching the videos, and skip over anything you don't understand on the first read. And then maybe if you go back, you'll understand anything that you missed, because you'll have a wider context around it. But you don't have to, like, a lot of people will try some of the labs and get stuck very early and then stop at that point. Don't let it stop you. The same as in the exam, don't let it stop you. Just carry on, and you can come back to it later. You can, learn to do it later, but just try and just try and absorb as much as you can, as much as your brain is able to on the first, without letting yourself become overwhelmed. I guess that is my advice. And yeah, I didn't do the labs before I did the exams, and I passed, but I have since then gone back and done other things, because I've built stuff from them, fun stuff from them, and it's great. It's a great way to really clarify and cement your knowledge by building your own projects, but you don't need it in order to pass the exams. So don't let that stop you if you get stuck. Don't get stuck. Just push through.
All right. And so that's the schedule. I wanted to share one final case study, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the schedule. So one of the products that you can actually install on your iPhone is an app called Seeing AI, and you can download it from the App Store. This is super exciting because it kind of shows how the computer vision can support a range of accessibility requirements, particularly for low sighted. So it allows you to recognize people, their gender, their age, their emotion. It also allows you to read text, read currency, read barcodes. And it's just an amazing tool that has come out of, a research assignment, and now it's being used extensively by low-sighted people around the world and people like me that just like to have a dinner party trick. So I highly recommend downloading it so you know a little bit more about it. Okay, so we also have one last thing to talk about, which is the ability for you to join us for an in-person event. And Michelle, you want to talk a little bit about what this Student Accelerator program is, and then we'll give you the details of the in-person event as well.
Yes. So Eugene was asking, are all of the things online and not face to face? So I'll answer that while I'm doing this, in that yes, you follow the learning paths online in your own time, taking it as long as you like. So I think Rita's got like 30 hours estimate for the AI fundamentals. Is that right, around that? Whereas I say you can do it in 10 hours if you're a quick reader and a quick absorber. So, you know, it's up to you. During the bootcamp, there's going to be augmented by a bunch of other sessions, career panels, the prep classes, the exam prep classes, where we give you the top tips and all of that. But yes, all of that is still remote, because Kenny and I are in Perth and Nicole is in New Zealand. However, if you do want to meet me in person,
Here we go. This is where it's all going to happen. Let's go back. I'll show you.
The slide is on.
Here we go.
I am coming to Melbourne next week to speak at NDC conference in Melbourne. However, I'm in for the Microsoft Student Accelerator program. We are running an in-person meetup in the Microsoft office for a lunchtime event. So even though that is the same day I am making my presentation and I will have to run back to the convention center afterwards, I am coming to the Microsoft office for that lunchtime session. The slide is not up, Rita.
Oh, it's not? My sincerest apologies. I'm having so many problems with my slides. Here we go.
So
so you got to fill in this form here.
There's two forms, yes. So that form there is for the meetup in Melbourne
on
next
the 23rd
week.
of June. And for those of you who don't know, the Microsoft office is in South Bank. It's an opportunity to come and check it out as well. And I think you're serving pizza.
There will be snacks there. There'll be like a little panel with some Microsoft people sharing some insider tips on, you know, how to, like, early career tips, how you can work at Microsoft, what advice they would share with their younger selves, stuff like that. If you check out my LinkedIn profile, actually, we did one in Perth on Friday, and so you can see what that event looked like there. The Melbourne one can be slightly bigger because in Perth we still have a few restrictions. But yeah, you need to register because you have to be escorted into the building and all of that.
Checking vaccines, and you know the drill.
Yes. But if you come, you'll get one of these t-shirts, which are really cool, and I have lanyards as well, but that's somewhere else. And yeah, we'll have a really fun time. You'll get to meet me in person, and it will be really good to see you if you can come. Currently, Deakin University represents 50% of the people that are registered for that. So, you know, it would be good if RMIT got up there and showed them what's what.
Watch out, Deakin.
And that link at the bottom is to sign up for the whole overall program. And as I said earlier, the program is not restrictive, it's not competitive. So you join it, it's providing you with a Microsoft community, you can learn together, you can continue with your certifications. You know, whatever you get here gives you a really good grounding to jump off from, and you can continue to learn with us throughout the year. You can learn then to build on Azure. So we have technical workshops that we do, and we have core workshops. So sort of, you know, career skills, insider tips, panels, people from industry talking about what those different jobs are. it's a really good way to just get support from a Microsoft community, learn together, grow together, hang out together, and have fun whilst you are making yourself ready for your careers afterwards. And even if you are going to work full time in research after what you're doing now, it's still great to have formed those relationships, because Microsoft has a tremendous number of research centers around the world. I think we have, I don't know if it's 5 or 7 now, quantum computing research centers. So there's a real investment in research, as well as commercial industry applications. So join and build that community, build that network, get those top insider tips and support. Nicole helps me with it all the time, and maybe I'll convince Kenny to teach something as well for it.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got a few minutes left, but I just want to say that at our final event, which will be on the 22nd of July, everyone who passes and signs up for the CIAIRI AI Bootcamp will get a free t-shirt as well. So we're going to not just teach you stuff, we're going to dress you as well. so there you go. So that is coming up on those days. So how are we going with questions, team? Just want to see if anyone's got any killer questions. How many hours in each day, or is it from 9 to 5? Do you think we've answered Eugene's question?
It's whatever hours you want to make it, apart from the augmented sessions, which will show up in your schedule, and you'll be able to see where those are. Those,
I do want to share
will be
this.
recorded as well.
I do want to share this estimate that somehow I missed out on it, but this is what we estimate the time taken. And it's not really a 9 to 5 thing. It's just like you can do it in any hours, but we think if you want to pass cloud computing, it takes about 27 hours. If you want to pass the AI fundamentals, it's about 30 hours. And if you want to pass the Azure data fundamentals, it's about 27 hours. So
it took me longer to do data than AI, though, because I'm not excited about data. It took me longer to do Azure than it did AI. AI I did really quick because it's more exciting, but you're always going to be able to do more quickly the thing that you enjoy more.
the interesting
Rita likes
psychology.
data more than I do, so I think she can do
I'll
data.
be good at that one. I'll be good at that one. All right, so Eugene's excited, and just want to remind everyone that we do have 2 in-person sessions coming up. So that'll be the 23rd of June on the Thursday, and Michelle's put the link in the window for you to register, and that's the event at Microsoft, the pizza party. And then at the end of the boot camp,
it's not a pizza party, it's a networking community event. There will be snacks there, but those are the side deal. Those are not the main event.
Not the reason why you come, right? And then
you're coming for bad pizza, you're really in trouble.
And then on July the 22nd is the end of the boot camp, and that's when we'll be running an in-person event, and I'll be issuing out the location, all that stuff, and you'll be able to pick up your t-shirt once you've passed. So if no one else has any questions, I'm going to officially close the CIAIRI AI Skills Bootcamp information session. And I'd like to.
I do want to say, even though the sessions, the augmented sessions that we run are recorded or will be recorded, You should come to them when they are live, because that's where you can ask your questions, and you can't ask questions of a recording. And yeah, you see, we have a lot of fun when it's an in-person session, so come along to that. And also the questions do not show up on a recording because to protect your PII. So, you know, come to the real sessions. Don't just sleep through it and say I'll watch the recording later.
Yeah, the real sessions are invaluable, because if you're doing the pre-coursework and reading it and you've got some questions, it can really help your understanding, and it means you pass straight away rather than having to do the exam twice or 3 times like some of us. But
No one is doing them 3 times,
no.
Rita.
But thank you very much for everyone attending. Thank you for all the speakers. Thank you, Kenny. Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, Catherine, for managing the chat. And thank you, Michelle, for being amazing and sharing your amazing stories and your EWOCs. And don't miss Michelle's session. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.